Hey, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. For introduction, for any members that are new here today, we are Pre-Health Shadowing. We are a student-led, women-led, minority-led program. We are also a nonprofit organization for medical advancement. We do want to accommodate for all of you guys' needs and abilities and accommodations. So we do offer closed captions in the throughout the session here. If you have any more ideas on how we can improve it, add more stuff to meet your expectations, please go ahead and email us at info@prehealthshadowing.com, and we'll be very happy to take it into consideration. Please keep in our contact within your reach, so you can always reach us whenever it's necessary for you. You are also able to join our mailing list to never miss on our future events and sessions that come along the way. If you want to stay more into the loop within pre-health shadowing, of course, you can sign up through our emailing list, which is on the website. It's a very easy 2-minute form you can fill out. Also, you can follow us on our social media through our handles at pre-health shadowing. You can join us at Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Our goal of our program is to reach all students from all around the world that they're going into medicine, sciences, and all over through pre-health. So please go ahead in the chat, let us know from where are you talking today. If you are more interested in being part of pre-health shadowing, please go ahead and look into our positions through student volunteering and team member leadership. These are 2 different roles that we offer through all different departments that we have at PHS. To take into consideration the abilities of these roles, they're 100% remote, so you don't have to worry about being on site anywhere. So you can always fill out the form and the application on our website. The roles take into all within all the departments of PHS, like the IT, the research, the grant, the live sessions, and the requirements in all other departments. All of the information of our departments are on the website. It lists all the roles and all the open positions that you can apply to. Also, our help, it's not just for college students and beyond, but it's also for our pre-college students. So if you are in high school, you can join our HTP program, which is works on to offer you guys leadership experiences and healthcare education. One of the goals of the program as a nonprofit is to keep this program free and accessible to everybody. And so donations is one of the big parts for that. So if you can go ahead, please donate on through this code and share with everybody that you know that can help us get donations. Every donation is helpful, and so yeah. Now, throughout the sessions, I'm sure we're going to have a very great presentation. And as questions or concerns arise for you, please go ahead, write them in the chat. At the end after the presentation, we will have Q&A. So you are able to, we will go ahead through the chat, and any questions that you may have, you may ask them. I'm sure Dr. Tomei Torres will have a very good presentation for us and information. So please go ahead, feel free to take good notes for you, anything that's interesting or insightful that you saw. And so that may be something you want to help, that will help you for the future. Please go ahead, feel free to note it. One thing to note for you is that this session will not have an assessment and will not have a certificate, since this is an informational session, so you don't really need to worry about taking an assessment after that. Now, since we are remote, to keep your cameras on, it will be something very helpful. It's going to keep it more engaging and helpful for us and for you to keep it lively. So please go ahead, feel free to put your cameras on. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass on the presentation to our presenter. Dr. Komi, please go ahead and share your screen.
Here we are. Thank you for your invitation. Hold on, let me see what's going on here.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Good. You can call me Paco Tomei, and I'm a health scientist at the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry in Atlanta. ATSDR, as it's better known, it's part of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia. well, why am I here? It's because I champion your cause. I do this to pay debts that I owe to others, because at critical points in my professional life, there has been someone who made sure that my career would advance. So I just want to help you advance your career. And I want to make this very informal. The purpose is to make you aware of opportunities. You don't have to memorize anything. Just be aware that there are so many opportunities out there. And the primary focus of my talk is to impress upon you the importance of having a strategic plan to develop your career. And that this planning has to start, hopefully, ideally, when you are in high school or even before. And my intention is to show you a number of programs that you can use at different stages of your career to reach your goals, for example, of going to medical school. And what I present here today is just a tip of the iceberg. There are so many other opportunities. I have a website, which I think I sent you some time ago, but I'll be happy to send it you again. It's a website for financial aid for college, but yeah, my presentation is more focused on healthcare professions. So I want to start with the first. So I'm going to present to you different opportunities, and I'm going to start for high school students. The Gates Scholarship, and I have selected programs that usually select up to hundreds, if not thousands, of students for their programs, because these are highly competitive. So if you're going to have a decent chance to get it, they better offer plenty of them. And for example, in the case of the Gates Scholarship, they offer 300 scholarships. And this is for students. This is for high school students. This is for high school seniors, people who are going to enter college, and it will make sure that you will be covered completely in your financial costs in college. And this is primarily for students who qualify for the Pell Grant. I presume that most of you are familiar with the Pell Grant, and it's about $7,000 scholarship from the federal government. So the Gates Scholarship supplements the Pell Grant. If you have plenty of money, this presentation is not for you. I come here to try to help people who truly have financial needs. So the deadline for the Gates Scholarship, if you're high school seniors, is September 15. So you have to hurry up and make plans to apply for it if you are a high school senior. This one is even better. The Quest Bridge. Well, here are two parts. There's the College Prep Scholars, which is for junior high school students, and there's the National College Match, which is for graduating high school seniors. And the deadline for the college match is September 26, I think. So if you are a junior, you should apply for a College Prep Scholars, and when you become a senior, then you are automatically sent to the National College Match, and this program will pay all your college costs, and they give several thousand scholarships, and this is in partnership with prestigious universities. So you would be admitted to a top college in the U.S. We're talking Stanford, Caltech, Yale, I believe, with the exception of Harvard. But well, let me put it this way. I went to Harvard, and they're a bunch of snobs. So, but Harvard you should apply to Harvard too, because Harvard guarantees full financial aid to anyone admitted. Harvard guarantees that any college student, Harvard College bachelor's degree that is admitted will come out after 4 years with no student debt. You will be fully covered. So I didn't put it here, but look for Harvard financial aid and you'll find out. Okay, so here is remember, let me go back for a moment and put this in perspective. I'm talking about health, planning a career in healthcare. Okay, so there you have disease control and prevention in CDC, and you have medical research at NIH, the National Institute of Health. And the National Institute of Health have by far, I assure you, by far, the best integrated training program for students who want to go into medical school or biomedical research. And they start with high, okay, I'm not going to go one by one and give you the details. You will have in my presentation, you can click on the link and see the details. But as you can see, is that you can start with in high school. I'm sorry. How do I? Here we go. You can start with high school. So I want to repeat the fact that if you should start planning in high school. You don't have to. I didn't do any planning until I was past college. So, and later I will tell you when we talk informally how my life is an accident. And so part of my goal here is for you not to have to go through what I went through to get to Harvard, MIT. So NIH has a whole series of programs for high schools, for undergraduates. If you see in first column, second, it's a undergraduate scholarship program that will cover all your college costs. And then when you graduate, if you do not get admitted into any graduate program, you can have a post-baccalaureate program where you are doing research at NIH non-degree. And from there, you can jump to a master's or a PhD degree or still working with NIH, and you can have you can go into the PhD, then you can do postdocs. If you participate in one of these programs, I assure you that it will be extremely easy to enter medical school. These are very prestigious programs, very selective, and you don't have to be at NIH. You can do the work. You have to inquire, but you can do your work at your local institution. What happens when you finish college? And in this program, the CDC Public Health Associate Program, this is a CDC program where I work. And I see it as an investment. For some people who finish college and just want to go to work, this is fine. This is a 2-year training program, and at the end of the program, you can be hired permanently as a CDC employee, and you will be doing public health. But I am a sponsor. No, I advise the PHAP scholars, some PHAP scholars, and some of them use this program as a trampoline to professional schools like law or medical school. So I know several of my students that after these 2 years, they were not able to enter medical school originally, but after gaining this more experience, and this is a highly prestigious program, it's highly selective. This program is a credential that medical schools cannot ignore in the selection process. So if you finish college, this is a program for college grads. If you enter this program after 2 years, you apply to medical school, the chances that you will be admitted to medical school are excellent. but there's also a good chance that you will be a permanent employee in the federal government, in not in healthcare, but in public health, which is disease control and prevention. Here is another great opportunity to enter medical school by having these credentials. You know, we have the public health service of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and they have a uniform service called the Commission Corps. And in the Commission Corps, when you enter the Commission Corps, everyone is an officer. There are no sergeants or privates. You enter as the lowest rank as an ensign, and you can even eventually become an admiral or rear admiral, captain, commander, so on. So while you are in college, and by the way, the deadline is also, I think it's in the end of September. End of September or end of October. You have to look it up. But if you are, you can be in college or grad school, and you can be admitted to the what is called the Junior Step program. And this is for students that are in health-related undergraduate, master's, and doctoral programs. And you can end up being in training in the summers with active duty officers. So being a Commission Corps sponsor student is an excellent credential to enter medical school. It's an obvious one, because then you can go into the senior, I'm sorry, I'm going to put this one. You can go into the senior commission officer student training program. And this is for students entering their final year of grad school or professional training. And this is for students that are within 1 year of receiving a degree in medicine, nursing, dentistry, pharmacy, and so on. So when you enter the Commission Corps, the Commission Corps is one of the quote unquote armed services or uniform services of the US. They will never put a rifle in your hands. You don't have to go to training, and you will be uniformed though. But you can retire from the Commission Corps after 20 years with a full pension. They will pay for all your moves. They allow you to declare residency in a state that pays no state taxes. You can go to the commissary or the PX, post exchange, and buy things tax-free. I mean, it's an incredible deal. So I encourage you to explore the Commission Corps, the junior co-step and the senior co-step programs. It's again, if you get one of these opportunities, the chances that you will end up in medical school are excellent. Here is a program there is a CDC program for undergraduates. And this is a summer program. And the program is sponsored by CDC, but you will not be a CDC for the most part, unless you are at Morehouse College. So you will be distributed throughout the US in these institutions. There is, by the way, I want to point out that there is a program for the Native Americans. And there is a program at UCLA. And this is, again, it's 10 weeks in the summer. And it's extremely selective. They select about, I think it's 200, around, don't quote me on this, but it's around, but they select several hundred students. And you will be doing mostly public health, training in public health. But again, this is a highly selective program. So once you finish college, you can use this as a credential to be admitted to the prestigious school, not just in medicine, but in any graduate program you want to attend. So having a bachelor's degree these days with 4.00 average, top of the class, quite often is not enough. You need something else. And this type of program provides the credentials you need. Here's another program for undergrads, also for grads. And This is a CDC program, but you don't have to come to CDC. You can do your work at your home institution, supervised by one of your local faculty. And it's for undergraduates and graduates. It's only during the year. It's not a summer program, but you get paid 30 hours a week, and you can learn. I have a sponsor. I have sponsored several students under this program, and one is a high-ranking officer now after all this. After coming to the program and applying to other schools, one is a high-ranking officer with EPA. Another one ended up in Europe doing 2 master's degrees in public health. Another one is an employee of FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and the other one is also an employee of the federal government. So this type of training again opens doors for you to go into the public health and healthcare professions. If what you want to do is to go into basic research, if you don't want to do public health or biomedical research, this is the NSF Graduate Fellowship Program is by far the most prestigious fellowship given to any graduate student in the US and in the world. So the National Science Foundation will sponsor your graduate work for 3 years. And a person who receives an NSF fellowship has essentially a passport to, is supposed to, there is no guarantee, but in my experience, if you are appointed an NSF graduate fellow, you will be admitted to any prestigious school in the US, including Harvard and the Ivy League. There is an understanding that this is the program for graduate students. So if you want to go into basic research, this is the program to apply to. And the deadline is sometime in October. Let me make a parenthesis here and emphasize the importance of I mentioned the strategic planning. You have to plan at least beginning a year ahead, and these deadlines come fast and they go by. And if you didn't plan ahead, you're going to miss it because you need documents, you need transcripts, you need letters of recommendation. You may have to read an essay. So you cannot wait until the night before the deadline to apply for it. You have to plan months ahead. Another thing is that I want to, another parenthesis, for those who want to advance their careers, be extremely careful with your letters of recommendation. Because at the end, when they're going to make the final selection, whoever is going to make a final selection, all the people who have been what's called so-called triaged, they all have excellent letters of recommendation. So the question is, how can a letter of recommendation make a difference? And in my personal experience is that you have to select letters of people who write letters, personal letters of recommendation. Not that they just mark you are top in every category in your form. They have to write a letter showing that that person admires you, showing that you're worthy of the respect of your fellow students. That's what makes the difference at the end. So, but anyhow, by the way, there's also the issue of college admission scores. During the pandemic, most prestigious schools eliminated the entrance exams scores. They are going back to them. The entrance scores are just one more criterion in selection. Had it been for the college scores, I would have never been admitted to MIT and Harvard. So I have other, besides college scores, I had other redeeming values that came to the attention of the admissions officers, which allowed me to be admitted to Harvard MIT. So be aware of that. Be very careful with your letters of recommendation. Here is a list. I don't mean to go one by one, but here's this is mostly for undergraduate students. So if you want to go out there into the study outside, forgive me if I made a big error. You mentioned that you are a group of foreign students, and the vast majority of these opportunities, you must be a U.S. citizen. I'm sorry. I have a web in my website. There is a page for study abroad where citizenship is not required. Also, if you are undocumented alien in the U.S., many of these programs will not admit even legal residents of the U.S. But there are other programs which you can see in my website. For example, there are scholarship programs for DACA students, and there are also programs for undocumented students. Period. And there are programs also for foreign students, but these programs that I have focused on are primarily for citizens. I'm sorry, but they're mostly primarily sponsored by the U.S. government, and by law, the Congress only admits full citizens. Well, here's a number of programs that are undergraduate scholarships. That again, if you gain one of these, they open doors for you in graduate school and medical school and other healthcare professions, because they are extremely prestigious and they are highly selective. So if you are selected for one of these programs, you know that you're good and that you were selected, and the chances you will be selected in another program are excellent. They are no guarantee, but it will not hurt. So for example, the Gilliman Scholarship, the first one, that's for people who want to go study out out there somewhere in the world. And to qualify, you have to be a recipient of a Pell Grant. The Boren Scholarship is very similar to Gilman, but you don't have to be a Pell Grant recipient, and it's for promote language programs in the U.S. If you like marine biology or oceanography, Hollins Scholarship is for you. If you're into STEM programs, the Goldwater Scholarship is for you. If you are into the environment, environmental health, the Udall Scholarship is the one you have to apply for. By the way, I would apply to all of them. You do never know where you're going to be admitted. If you want to work into a career in government, that's what the Truman Scholarship is for. If you, again, one of the most competitive and prestigious programs is the DoD Scholarship, and this is for STEM disciplines, and they give hundreds of them. So when you get this scholarship, if you don't want to go into grad school, you should go. But if you don't want to, you can get a job with the DoD, and a well-paying job. And then at the end is the last one is actually related to the DoD scholarship, but this is for graduate students. So the DoD fellowships are similar to the NSF graduate fellowships I previously mentioned. So again, they will pay for everything. The money involved is excellent. Okay, here let's go for actually to healthcare. So if you want to medical school, the National Health Service Corps will pay for your education. They pay for physicians, for dentists, for nurse practitioners, for nurse midwives, and for physician associates. They will pay for your education. Of course, then they will come, and after you graduate, they will come after you to get their pound of beef, pound of flesh. In Shakespearean times, anyhow. So in exchange for the scholarship, you have to serve. When you finish your medical school, you have to serve in medically underserved areas. There is also a nurse. If you want to become a nurse, there is a program for nurses separate from National Health Service Corps, and they will pay for your nursing education. again, you have to serve after you finish. But better than these programs is very difficult. Well, how long has it been? How am I on time?
You're doing good. Continue. We have 20 more minutes.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so we will have plenty of time to talk. So here, I just wanted to mention this. This is a different way to get financially. Well, I'm assuming now. Well, okay, I got admitted to medical school. How am I going to pay for medical school? Well, I already mentioned the National Health Service Corps. But so I'm going to give you 5 examples. Actually, there's another example that came out recently. Oh yeah, okay. So there here listing 5 medical schools which will cover at least full tuition. So you won't have to pay for tuition. And I have to add, I forgot to add, but last week, Michael Bloomberg, the guy who gave $1 billion to Johns Hopkins, so for the public health, he gave several $100 million to 4 HBCUs. So, including Morehouse, Drew, which is in California, Morehouse in Atlanta, Tuskegee in Alabama, and Howard in DC. So starting next year, if you apply to one of these 4 medical schools, your financial aid is covered. You don't have to worry about having to pay. By the way, you can also, if you want to, I didn't put it here, but there is School of Medicine in Cuba, which admits US students. And there is a full scholarship. You can find it in my website. So I'm going to stop here. I don't want to drown you with all kinds of specifics. I just want to make you aware that there are opportunities out there. And what I have presented today is just a tip of the iceberg. And that I have a mailing list. You send me email, I'll be happy to put you in on my mailing list for these opportunities. I have the website, which I sent to Nina, I think. And anyhow, thank you for the opportunity and good luck in your endeavors.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. It was very insightful. And now we're gonna go ahead and start with our Q&A. So do you guys have any questions? Let's go ahead and start asking.
Should I stop sharing or?
Yeah, you can, yes.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? You can feel free to write it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask. Okay, so we have a question. How does the GATE scholarship define and determine the full potentials of their scholars that they choose?
How do they select or?
Yeah, like what is a full potential scholar that they look into, like what things they have to do, like extracurricular grades, for example, what's something for them they call it a full potential student?
Yeah. The GATE scholar will admit you to a prestigious school. And you can do whatever you want. The nice thing about it, as I see it, is that you have this credential in your resume. So when you go further ahead and to get a job or graduate school, the fact that you have this very prestigious scholarship tells the other person, the interviewer, that you were passed through a very fine sieve. You were, so you are extremely qualified. I don't have, if I am an admissions officer at Harvard, by the way, I sometimes interview students for Harvard. as an alumnus.
Mhm.
And if I see a Bill Gates scholar, by all means, I say this student should be admitted by all means, because this student has already shown how good he or she is. See, because let me point out again, it's very painful when to try to be admitted to a prestigious school, not just Harvard, any Ivy school. Because the problem is that at the end, the number of qualified applicants far exceeds the number of people that we admitted. So, for example, at Harvard, during the pandemic, Harvard College, and there are many places at Harvard where you can apply them, grad schools, law school, medical school. Harvard College, the bachelor's degree, they had 70,000 applications, but they only admitted 2,000 students. In the US, there are, I think it's around 4,000 high schools. So if every valedictorian in the US applied to Harvard, half of them will be rejected for admission because there is no space for them. And the 2,000 that are admitted, many, if not most, are not valedictorians. So this is why I tell you that programs like this is what give you an edge. Because the question is, when the admissions officer is going to make a final decision, is what makes you so special. And there are many factors, but receiving a prestigious award clearly can make a big difference. So this is why I have focused on these prestigious programs. In my website, you have all kinds of programs, and that's fine. I mean, you will finance your college, but they are not as prestigious. They are not as selective. Well, they are very selective, but not as selective as the ones I just showed you.
So one more question. So you have talked about the Scholar program. So how does being a college prep scholar increase the student's chances of becoming a finalist in this program?
What?
So how does being a college prep scholar, or that comes from college prep school, increases the ability of a student being matched in the Questbridge scholarship?
Oh, no, they're excellent. So the prep scholar is a path to the college match. And the college match, the several thousand students who are finally matched are admitted to a prestigious school. So the two programs, the prep scholars and the college match, facilitate your admission to a prestigious school. Let me go back and for a moment and point. Let's put in the numbers. If you apply to any college in the US, you will be admitted somewhere. And in the US, most colleges, not the Ivy League, but most universities will admit everyone that applies because they want your money. But in the case of the Ivy League, if you apply Harvard, Yale, Johns Hopkins, Princeton, whatever, if you apply to only one, I'm telling you right now that you will be rejected for admission, no matter how good you are. And the reason is that I have no doubt how good you are. Is that there is no space for you. As simple as that. But if you apply to a large number of good schools, not just Ivy League, I saw some numbers that, well, at Harvard, if you apply just to Harvard, the chances you will be admitted is like 2%. Unless you are the son of the faculty member, where you will be admitted, period. It's called the legacy program. But if you apply to a large number of schools, the chances that you will be admitted to a good school is like 80%. Hey, I think we have someone who was a prep scholar in the audience. That's excellent. That person can is an excellent resource to push the program. But again, I have to emphasize that you have to plan ahead. You have to apply for all these programs. By the way, I didn't mention internships. There are all kinds of internships. My website has a long list of them. There are, for example, the Navy and the Army. They have a very large program for high school students for summer internships. Again, these are programs that open doors. When I was in college, I was fortunate. Let me go back. I'm from Puerto Rico. I mean, I was born in a house with no electricity and no running water. I mean, very poor. But when I went to college, I went to college next door. I mean, I never thought about coming to the mainland. But while in college, I found out about there was no internet, of course. I mean, forget about no smartphones or nothing like that. Okay. There was one public phone, pay phone in the town square, and that's it. And no, forget about phone in my home. And I found about the program at the Savannah River Ecology Lab, Savannah River Lab with the U.S. Department of Energy. And I was fortunate enough to be selected. So that program helped me a lot, gave me credentials that eventually helped me. Was a factor in me entering first MIT and then Harvard. Plan, stay the course, and apply often.
Okay, so we have another question here. What advice do you have for applying for these scholarship opportunities?
Yeah, well, I already gave you one piece of advice: that be extremely careful with the letters of recommendation. Second recommendation is that when you take courses in college, if you want to be, don't be bashful. Don't be afraid of grabbing the proverbial bull by the horns. Acquire an excellent education. If you want to go to a prestigious school, you better have an excellent background in STEM background. So in the case of if you take math, you should have at least calculus. A place like MIT, the minimum you must have is differential equations. I mean, so it's even worse for Caltech. So acquire an excellent education in math, and then when you take physics, college physics, make sure that course uses calculus, and then have a good background in chemistry. The least I'm worried about is a good background in biology, because if you have an excellent background in math, chemistry, and physics, you are a good biologist already, because you already have the background to understand what's going on in biology. Again, use the summers to advance your career. By all means, do internships. In college, so, you know that many places, I'm talking college now, undergrad, if you are in a research institution, look for a professor who's doing research and ask him if he will allow you to just wash the glassware. And eventually that person will give you a job, will pay you, and will give you an internship and will allow you to do research. If you're in high school, do science fair projects, because again, some science fairs are a passport to a prestigious university. So, I mean, don't spend your time doing nothing. Constantly try to advance your education.
Okay, so one question, you have mentioned a lot about the summer internship. What kind of
Yeah,
internships these are and what kind of placements do they give to the students and how does the matching work?
there are all kinds of internships. For example, let me give you an example of what happened with me. So, and this is a long, long time ago. I was a kid in college. I was a rising senior in college. This happened in, you were not born. Well, so when I had no idea exactly what I was going to do. I knew that I was being admitted, and I was admitted to a lab that was in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Savannah River was the place where they made plutonium for the atomic bombs. And when I got there, my advisor was hospitalized, but he left instructions of what I had to do. And he had just bought a brand new machine, and he told me that he wanted to see this machine running by the time he got back from the hospital. So I didn't say I cannot do that. I just grabbed the instructions and did it. So you have to show initiative, and we were friends for life. And of course, I mean, the point is that that type of interaction, that person will write a letter for you for admission, and that person has contacts at the place where he got his degree, his or her degree. So I mean, it's not just a matter of applying. I mean, sometimes a phone call makes a difference. In my case, I was admitted to MIT because of a phone call. So you have to grab all the opportunities. By the way, I mean, so some internships do not involve your hands getting dirty. So, for example, if you do public health, I mean, you don't have to do research. You can do, for example, do health education, health communication. You can do epidemiology. You can study pandemics. You can do engineering research. You can work with instruments, designing instruments. You can do molecular biology. I mean, molecular biology is the top of the line credential to be admitted anywhere. You can do, if you're a computer scientist, you can do artificial intelligence. The internship, you will be doing whatever any researcher is doing, but supervised by that researcher. So it's going to be quite a learning experience. And if you acquire very particular credentials, when you apply to grad school, in prestigious grad schools, the final decision is made by one person. So because many schools expect you to have a sponsor to advise you for your graduate research. So if you have credentials that match a guy in that department, it increases tremendously your chances of being admitted because the person is looking for cheap labor.
Okay, we have one more question here. Are there any opportunities or chances for international students who live in the USA?
Well, as I said before, yes, but not in the ones I mentioned for the most part. You can come to the US with a scholarships from the outside. Some of the internship programs may not require US citizenship. So you have to start searching. Your best bet for international students, your best bet is your local college looking for a researcher doing that person can hire you. Most universities don't require citizenship for you to be admitted, for example. I mean, that's not true for, I mean, I'm in Georgia, and Georgia is not exactly proactive. So the best schools in Georgia do not admit undocumented students, for example. But some medical schools only admit residents of the state. Some medical schools only admit US citizens. I know places where they are, for example, they do admit DACA students. So there are some schools that are very progressive. Some schools are very reactive. So again, this is why you need time. You cannot expect the night before application deadline to apply, because you have to plan ahead. You have to find all kinds of things. You have to address all kinds of issues to select the places where you want to attend. By the way, there are, well, I focus this on healthcare professions and public health. But if you go to my website, there are so many other opportunities equally prestigious. So, for example, you can go do a master's degree in China, and that program covers non-citizens. That's an example. It's called the Schwarzman Scholars Program. There are many programs to go to Europe. By the way, in Europe, not having a US passport can be to your advantage, because there are many programs for non-US, non-European students. There's a program called Erasmus. It's the ERASMUS, Erasmus, which gives scholarships to foreign students. Let me go back for a moment. In these days, in graduate programs in the US, a disproportionate number, if not the majority of the students, are not US citizens, particularly, for example, in engineering programs. So the point being that there is money for international students out there, because there are too many vested interests in those schools looking for research assistants.
Okay, one last question. Why do you recommend the CURP or the service fellowship to students?
The Commission Corps?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's the best deal in town. You will retire after just 20 years. You will have a full pension. Not only that, I'm a CDC. No, and the Commission Corps is everywhere. I mean, it's CDC, it can be FDA, it can be health, HERSA, it can be EPA, any health-related organization. But when you retire at 20 years, on a Friday, on Monday, you can come back as a regular employee. So you get a pension. On Monday, you have a pension from the Commission Corps and a salary from CDC, for example. So, and there are so many benefits. And of course, I mean, on paper, the difference is that you have to take orders. But in practice, I don't know. It's Commission Corps officers in my agency carry out the same functions that civilian employees carry. The potential big difference is that if there is an emergency, there is an epidemic coming out in Africa, you can be ordered to go to Africa and work on controlling the epidemic. The civilians, they cannot be ordered, but they can volunteer. And actually, most of them do. So on paper, Commission Corps is a uniform service, like any other uniform service, except that you won't have a rifle in your hands. You won't carry any arms, and you will not have to go fight wars. One place where Commission Corps officers go, well, you may go on a cruise, because on a cruise ship, because CDC Commission Corps officers are in charge of health issues on cruise ships. So when there is an outbreak of disease on a cruise ship, CDC sends its officers to the ship. So you may go around the Caribbean for a few days.
Thank you so much. Do you guys have any more questions?
So I'm at your service. Just feel free to contact me, and I'll be more than happy to be of assistance.
Thank you so much. I am gonna go ahead and share our wrap-up slides. Okay, are you guys able to see the screen? Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay. So we had a very good presentation today through all these fellowships and internship and scholarship programs. There are for all high school students, college students, and anybody that's looking out to do anything that's in regard of health, so they can put it on your medical school, nursing, or any other pre-health professional applications. Now, please let's go ahead in the chat, send, and we'll go ahead and reflect on the session. Anything that was interesting to you, something that was a takeaway, something that you have learned. So please go ahead and put that in the chat. Now, through this session, I'm sure we have done a lot of things. So if you have any insights or reflections, or you have any more improvements for us to do for our live sessions, please go ahead and submit a blog on our blog on the website, and we will be able to go ahead and look onto it. Again, if you are looking into being more in the loop of pre-health shadowing, you are able to submit a student volunteer application, which involves you with all the departments of PHS. Or if you want to be in more depth position, you can apply to our team member leadership, which involves as well roles within all of the departments like the IT, the fundraising, the research, and the outreach, and even more. Donations is one of the standout of our program, so please go ahead, scan the code, and donate as much as you can. And if you can share it within your friends, families, and anybody that are able to donate, it'll be very appreciated. All donations help our program stay free and accessible to everybody around the world, whether they are high school students, college students, and beyond. We run solely off of the time and donations of our volunteers, so please go ahead, do it. You are able to go ahead and watch all of our previous shadowing sessions and take the quizzes right after, and then you'll be able to download your digital certificate. Just a reminder that this session will not have an assessment, so you don't really need to worry about it. If you had to miss any part of the session, or if you have joined us late, you will be able to go ahead and watch the session again since it's recorded. It will be up on our website and YouTube channel, so you are free to go ahead and always watch it again. Also on our YouTube channel and the website, we do have our previous sessions, all of them, so you are able to go ahead, hop on there and check them out. Again, just a reminder, join our emailing list and follow us on all of our social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find us through our handle at Pre-Health Shadowing. That was all for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to stick around or email us at info@prehealthshadowing.com. I'll be very happy to go ahead and contact you back, and we do contact you back shortly. That was all for today. So thank you so much for joining us, and see you all, guys. Thank you so much. See you all next time.
Thank you, Eva. Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
day.
Bye.